To us, it is more about storytelling because we have things to say and we want to say it through music. So we couldn't find someone who fits into the picture, and so I thought I'll learn production eventually.
Hello and welcome to Indie Gaga. We have a band here called Ben Hur Music. It's a duo that plays acoustic music, but why am I letting it all out there as an alert for you? Let me tell you this, they are a band you need to listen to, and that's what they are about, Ben Hur Music. It's all about the music. Amal and Das, welcome to the show. How did this journey start? And we'll get to what the music is all about, but talk to us about the journey. I know it started earlier when you were in college or even before college for that matter.
I mean, we both were doing music individually, like way before itself, but the duo thing started, I think, around 5 years back. Yeah, we started jamming, we came together. It was just jamming as it is. We weren't creating anything original, but eventually we got a sounding that is right now.
But when you started off, it was you going and playing in different places. You didn't even know music was your calling. You just said you thought you had a good voice and you went and you discovered yourself. That's what happened eventually.
Yeah, kind of like that, because we didn't have anything to do, so music was there, and I was out there performing at some cafes and all that stuff. That's what my journey was, and he was there parallelly. We didn't know each other then. He was there exploring himself as a guitarist with different bands and all that.
So your music, I mean, I've heard your music, and I know for a surety that everybody's told me that you got a fantastic voice as a baritone. How did you discover that?
Well, to be honest, I just discovered it recently, like 2 years back. So I don't know. I was singing and it was coming out like that.
So if I can ask you, the kind of influences that both of you have are two different influences altogether. He listens to a wide range. He's a metalhead basically as a guitarist. And you have never been a metalhead, and he's been like, I think you need to listen to this to understand where I'm playing from. So two different people from different backgrounds altogether, coming together, how did you find a connect?
Like, we met through a common friend, like his cousin is my classmate.
Okay.
Yeah, so we met through him, and then we started off by jamming together. Like, I stay nearby 200 meters close to his house.
So in fact, we just started jamming, and we didn't have any idea on what sounding we should go for, or there wasn't like a prefixed idea on what we should go with. But eventually, it was coming together, and of course, his influence are from metal. So he was playing some riffs and the chords and all that from his influence, and I was connecting to it from a different perspective, something from a Johnny Cash and a Bob Dylan and Leonard Cohen's perspective, not from the metal perspective, of course.
No, we're talking about people like Johnny Cash. He's also got a very heavy voice. If you notice, he doesn't take his levels to an extent where it cracks a glass somewhere. So while you were listening to yourself sing, you thought to yourself, Johnny Cash and me. No, because that happens for people who got a baritone.
When you listen to baritone singers, and because the mainstream is completely with the higher voices, the tenor and all that. So it was very hard for me to find a connect with the tenor because I was not able to sing those songs in their original scales, right? So when it came to people like Johnny Cash, Leonard Cohen and all those people, okay, this is fine.
We can sing those notes.
Yeah, I can sing those notes and I can even go lower. This is good. So,
but has this happened to you? Because I've spoken to a couple of people who also sing in baritone, but at the same time, they've got that level that goes there also. But for people who can't take it, because they say, when you classically train yourself and all that, you can take it to that level. I don't think so. No matter what I classically train myself, my voice is where it is. If I try to go beyond it, I'm asking for trouble.
To be very honest, I would disagree to it to some extent because there are different registers to our voice. There is a chest voice register, there is a head voice register, and there is a mixed voice register. These are all techniques, to be honest. So with those techniques, you can mimic to an extent how a tenor sounds. How the next register sounds. It is plausible,
It is plausible,
yeah.
Exactly. But do you think that your capacity to tell a story becomes even more easier when you are trying to sing and tell a story? Because your baritone voice and you're telling, you know, do
Yes,
you think
yes.
that helps?
To an extent, there is a bit of drama, there is a bit of mystery there to the bass baritone section, you know.
Because my question is this, because what I've heard, what you told me is that you're doing a compilation of a trilogy, and the future for you means music going in that direction of, you know, telling a story through your music. So is it because of the fact that your baritone voice has helped you, and of course his guitar riffs are there to back you up no matter what, that we can tell a story and we can play music? And this is a
Exactly. I
journey.
mean, to us, it is more about storytelling because we have things to say and we want to say it through music. So when it comes to his guitar and you know the melodies and all, what he writes with guitar, there is a sense of story unfolding if you look into the chords unfolding and all that. So exactly, the storytelling is what keeps us with it.
So let me understand your way of creating music. So he comes with a musical background, which again we said is metal. You come from a different background altogether. So do you guys sit together and say these are the lyrics I want you to play for this, or does he say I think we have a tune here, you
Yeah.
write the lyrics for that? Is
Often that happens. I mean,
Like I just
Das,
start off playing by a tune. So
Das comes
he
up with
just
the tune.
hums through it, and then we connect. Like then he goes up with the lyrics, just like that.
So do you set the mood with your chord progression and say this is what the mood of this song is
Yeah.
going to be?
exactly.
Yeah,
So now
exactly,
think
yeah.
of the lyrics.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yeah, think of the lyrics more than think of a melody, you know, top line melody. He comes up with the mood of it because guitar is where we start with the mood. Because often he plays classical and the acoustic both as well. In our coming album, it is primarily focused on classical guitar because the tone is different, the feel is altogether different. So he comes with that mood, and on top of it, there is a natural tendency for notes to go. So that's how we come up with the ideas.
So, naturally, when it comes to the music making process, so how does the tune come into your head? You're just sitting at home and just you're like, okay, this because I know guitarists like you guys, I mean, you just keep on going from one chord to the other. God knows what is going to come as inspiration.
That's so true. Because of that, we always keep the camera recording on.
Yeah.
Because
I just forget the thing I just played.
he always forgets
Like
what he
within
played.
within 10 seconds, I forget what I just played, and he's like, "What is it, man? You have to come up with that again."
And you're like, I don't know what I
What
just did. How do I do it again? Kind of
I
thing.
don't know how my fingers go there, but it just happens.
No, because I think, I just spoke to a band before this and they were saying these days, they have a notebook and a pen. Like whatever happens, they get like write it down, they
Yeah.
keep it there because then they go back, okay, that is what happened 5 minutes back. I don't know what happened after that. But for you, I mean, isn't it frustrating that, you had something that was so amazing and he'll be telling you like, play it again and you're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. His face.
That's why the camera's on all of a sudden. You can't do anything wrong then. No, you got to behave yourself all the time. So, what has been the message of your music? Now, again, let me rephrase this, ask you another question. Now, being a duo, okay, there definitely are going to be time where you think to yourself, like, maybe I had somebody else there that could add to the band. Why do you guys decide to stick? Because you've been together for 5 years now.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and
more than
playing
4 years.
more than 4-5 years.
Almost 5, yeah.
So for two people to come together to be for 4 years, marriages does not work, So two of you coming together and saying we're going to play music for 5 years as a duo. What are the challenges you're facing when you think, okay, maybe we could have done something else? We had a lead guitarist there because he's doing lead, rhythm, everything together at the
Yes,
same time.
yes.
Right?
I mean, we often come across the thought if we had a bassist, if we had someone who plays a piano, we always come up with these thoughts. And in fact, when we started off, I wasn't familiar with programming or production or anything. So we tried finding people, but when it comes to music, right, that there is that vibe which is different.
I don't know.
I
You
mean-
know, when it comes to music, I have no idea.
Well, the different genres and all that clashes that often happens, and so we couldn't find someone who fits into the picture, and so I thought I'll learn production eventually. So I started learning it so that we can make thus multiple.
Give him all the work.
Give all the work
I
as
just
a-
sit there and say, Macha, I think this is what has to be done. One way or the
So
other.
with the production and the layering, he could be a bassist, he could be a rhythm guitarist.
Put him everywhere. Whatever. But if they're shooting a video, that is where he is. That's what's going to happen. See, I want to also tell you that, I mean, what I've seen of your music videos and stuff like that, there's always this element of mysteriousness that goes in because you're trying to say something at the same time you're being very straightforward, poker faced almost. Because even when you're playing the guitar, you have no expression on your face, nor do you. You're just, you're just singing there and being very straightforward, saying, this is what I'm trying to tell you, understand, if not, don't understand. Is that something you planned or something that you just happened to do?
I think it just happens in the moment,
To be honest, we don't know how we should express
So
ourselves.
you didn't plan at all as to what you're going to do while the video was being shot?
Like
No, I mean,
we planned to.
Bimal had an idea. I mean, the DOP
Yeah.
guy is my brother, so he's the one who directed it. So he had an idea on how the visual should go and all that. So apart from that, he just asked us to do our thing.
Yeah.
So our thing was to we had no idea on expressing
This
it.
video that you've done by the river, standing in Top Cliff, you said that's where it was in Munnar,
Yeah,
beyond
yeah.
Munnar. You go there and you have so many water bodies here which you do not use. You went all the way there and you did it. But look at the video, there's something that strikes me that I have to talk about for viewers to understand when they do see the video. Is that you're standing in a body of water, okay, he is standing next to you, he's not looking at the camera, you are. And you're looking straight into his eyes, and those eyes are there, and you're just playing. So that happened on the spur of the moment.
To be honest, it just happened like that. We
Yeah.
had nothing going on to do like this or anything. It just went off like that. To be
So
honest.
Vimal didn't tell you that you have to look this way or do
No,
that?
he didn't ask us to look to a particular direction or anything. He just asked us to do what you guys want to do.
Because
went with the flow.
you went with the literally. There's no flow in that water there. I'm sure.
So we
but
went with the flow.
You went with the flow. But did you notice this after you shot it that what you're doing is you're so much into the music that you're just looking at him. You've not even for a moment turned and looked at the camera.
No.
And that happened with
He
the
was
flow.
completely involved or immersed in it.
No, the reason why I'm saying people need to understand when you're making something creative and things happen unplanned, people actually look at it and say, okay, this was the idea of the DOP to say that this is what I want you to do. So this is natural that happened between both of you.
Yes, to an extent, yes.
I mean, this is incredible.
She caught the wind, her eyes are forgotten. She's stuck in narrow silence, so long by the river. She lost her account. Don't pretend that I know you completely. There are nights I've been burned out through bended rainbows, traced by your feather. The night by the river, I wished the things I've never felt. The night by the river, you wished you knew the end of love.
How did you start playing the guitar? What happened? How did you get into it? Was that a family influence or you just decided to go ahead? Because I can see that, I mean, according to what I know, you've not been trained in playing the guitar, have you?
I had a teacher, so I've been playing guitar for the past 9 to 10 years. So it's that long back, and the major, like I had these role models in my life, like Metallica, Kirk Hammett, then Megadeth, Dave Mustaine. So all these role models, I see them on the TV, and it's like I want to be like them, like the way they play the guitar, it's like magical. So then that influenced me to play the guitar, like to learn the guitar. So that's how I start my journey,
There are people who tell you the same thing among guitarists, and I ask them, like, how do you start? They all say the same thing. I saw someone on stage and I decided, okay, this is
Like
what I
we
want.
all have a role model,
Yeah, absolutely. But there are some people who, when you look at where they progress, they start with the electric guitar and then decide, okay, that's not what we need to and go back
Come
here.
back to
Was
that
that, because that is a challenge.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
for people who are trying to learn that you think you want to be there, but it's not the same when you're practicing and sitting at home. So what was the inspiration? Because you need practice time and you need to be focused. This is what I want to do. I want to spend so much time practicing playing the guitar. So what was your focus at that point in time?
Yeah, like I bought my electric guitar first. Like I didn't go for an acoustic or an classical. Like I bought an electric guitar, and that was my first guitar. So I just went with the riffs. I started off with the riffs and everything, and then one day I met Amal. So it's like he came to me and he said there is a different kind of music that you want to experience. So I was like, okay, so I could try a little bit more. Like I should experience that too. So I just went home. I played the riffs and I played the melody with that, and then I realized that, okay, so this is my thing, like not an extreme metalist or not that acoustic person. Like I should be in the middle of something like a classical electric guitarist, you know.
He
So
took influences from there and put
Yeah.
it, to this space.
But
Yeah.
that is fascinating because if you look at it, generally people start with acoustic, they realize, okay, this is what I want to do, and then they go to electric.
Yeah.
Here you have to meet him to tell you that, no, don't play the electric all the time. You can come down here and play
Yeah.
this. I think the fascinating part, let me ask you this question, but let me try to put my 2 bits in also. If I can understand, the fascinating part about you guys as a duo is the fact that you're willing to learn from each other.
Yeah.
to an extent, yes, I think, yeah.
We say to an extent. So he's saying, he's
Yeah,
like,
like-
definitely. That's what he's saying. So
Like,
is it, where is it? Where does it stand?
Okay, so Amal has these knowledge, you know, like he gives me this knowledge that I don't know about production and all, like music composition, I don't know about that, but he tells me like, okay, so if you could go like that, then it will be, so I will just try what he says, and then I found out that, okay, so this is great. Like I never tried this, but when you said this, okay, so this is great. So that's how, you know, like that's what we do. Like I give him something and he gives me back, so hand in
You know,
hand.
I find this fascinating for one reason, okay? I mean, when we spoke last night and I was talking to you, and this is for the viewers to understand that this is a band that knows what they're doing, at the same time, it fascinates me. Because when we were together on the call and I was asking him, like, what are your influences? He said Cohen, and then that's it. He didn't say anything else. Then when I saw the video, I thinking to myself, no, something's wrong. So I called him back and I said, this Das, okay, his influences are somewhere else altogether. He said, yeah, Metalhead. I'm like, Cohen and Metalhead, what's going on? So when we spoke together, I asked him a very straightforward question, like, your influence, and you said, like you said before, Megadeth, Metallica, Tool, Alice in Chains, you're going there. And then we told him, there's some songs you need to listen to.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah. I mean, like,
I will
know-
listen to them.
I know
And
exactly
I
what.
made him listen to it.
In fact, I
yesterday.
listened to it yesterday itself.
So the thing is, I mean, for me, this is fascinating because I think the creative process also is not stopped by the idea that you need to sound a certain way. I think that is the magic about your music also, that you do not want to sound a certain way.
Must be because you should hear him play classical. It's amazing because he has a real soulful flow with the classical, leads, melodies, and all that. So because we don't want to stick into a certain genre, of course, but there should be a consistency with sounding right. Otherwise, people wouldn't connect consistently, right? There are people who listen to our music and they expect a certain kind of sounding to an extent.
Right,
So we
right.
keep that sounding to a consistent base, but at the same time we explore, the other sides and neighborhoods of that sounding.
Talking about this, it now strikes me that the fact that, see, when you're playing a lead guitar, an electric guitar, there's certain tones that you get, there's certain tones you'll never get. And the classical guitar gets that out, right? Because naturally the strings are different. There's nylon plus this and the way you need to move your fingers on the fretboard also changes. The way your strumming changes. So if I could ask you, was it the fact that you started off with the electric guitar, it made you suddenly realize that this is the classical guitar is doing much more than the electric?
Yeah, so, okay, so I am a Trinity grade holder also.
Oh,
So I took
fantastic.
my Trinity grade back in 2014, I guess. So
And this is on classical guitar?
yeah, I took my Trinity grade on classical guitar. So and then only I bought my electric guitar for the first time. So I know that how to play the classical guitar and everything. So I know how it sounds. I know the way it plays, and also then I just stopped it after that. Like I switched to electric guitar and then I continuously played it for a long time. Then when I realized that, okay, so I need to experience something more, I bought a classical guitar for the first time, and then I experienced it, like the way I played in the electric guitar together, it brought a different sounding. So so I think that's what changed me. That change is, it was always within me, so I just played it.
Oh, this is fascinating. When you are a grade 3 Trinity player, okay, you were playing classic guitar, that's how you started. You had no influences back then.
No.
Nothing at all. And then you suddenly watched Megadeth and Metallica and said electric guitar. And then you went back after he told you,
Yeah.
I think you should try doing this.
Yeah.
You tell him that you were grade 3. Did he even know that back then?
Yeah, I know that.
You knew that. I said, maybe you should go back. He's being very patient. I think patience is the virtue in your
Oh,
man.
he's a patient guy. I could tell you, even if I just, sometimes when I play, I just lost my mind and I just sit there and I play for hours and he will be like, he will insist me to play this, but I won't be doing that. Like I will continue playing what I have in my mind, and then he will just sit there patiently. And once I'm done, okay, so can you now play this? Like he has this patience with it.
Can you
and
now
I don't
play?
have it. I don't have it with me. So.
He'll play that correct tone the first time, and as usual, he'll forget it. And then he'll be struggling to, oh my god, which
So you're
one?
like,
And it
see, I've
takes
been
a lot
sitting here
of time.
patiently. What you played 5 minutes back, I'll
Yeah,
hum it to
I
you.
just want that, man. Just give it to me.
And then I
Doesn't
have to
give it to
sit
you,
there
no.
for hours just to find that, And then we stopped it. Like we took a camera there, and you should see my phone gallery. Like it's almost full. All my 32 GB internal space is almost full, and he bought a new phone now.
Only for that.
Yeah, he bought a new phone, and now we have it. So we just recorded.
You just keep it there. They go wherever you want to come, they keep on recording.
Yeah.
No, but that makes sense because sometimes these riffs, they come once and they never come again.
Yeah,
you know, and so you lose something, you want to keep it in place.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand what you're going through. Like, not this, that, like, not that, even that, before that. First of all, Ben-Hur music. That is the question everybody is going to ask. Okay, it's not about the music anymore. It's about Ben-Hur. How did that come? You think you look like Ben-Hur, or you feel that you look like Ben-Hur, or you think you feel like
We
Ben-Hur?
often get that question from a lot of people, and
Basically, it is like, first we thought, okay, Amal and Das. Panchi
like it doesn't have that
Amal
punch.
Das. Ben-Hur music.
That is how it started.
Yeah.
And your brother Vimal didn't tell you that maybe you got to rethink that.
He was cool with it. So.
He's like, okay with it, let it be the way it is. So, you're saying that the name has nothing to do with the music at all. It's just a name. That's
It's
about
just a
it.
name. It's just, it's earthy. So.
Yeah.
In one way or the other. Is that what you're trying to say? Fantastic. So, again, I want to ask you this question. Politically, you're not trying to make a statement. When you're trying to sing your songs, you're trying to sing about things in general. But what I do know is that if you're looking to produce 24 songs, when it comes to a trilogy and the story already in mind, this is a disclaimer. It's not supposed to go out till the time these guys do it, but they're saying they're doing it. So I'm sure it's already there in place. 24 songs is a long list to have. Now you're getting into a different landscape or a soundscape altogether, right? Because you're talking about 24 songs, that is a trilogy, and you're talking about fantasy plus reality and all that. Is that an influence that came from the music that you're playing right now, or a conscious decision that we need to do this for the future?
Well, to be honest, we had lots of materials we have done, kept unreleased. So when we tried to compile it all together, it was coming in a form of a story, and it was coming inconsistent with a thought that I had as well. So we thought we should do it as a trilogy, and also the first album will be each albums will be released independently as it is, and to be honest, we came with the idea with the compilation of unreleased songs we had. That's how we thought we should do it. And also we, with time, with each releases, we kind of discovered what the best sounding or what kind of music we should, stick to, right? So after By the River and the recent two releases, Flower Child, we kind of got an idea on what kind of soundscapes we should stick with. And so this is also taken into hand when we structured all the rest songs for the album.
So you already had something already in place and decided this is what we're going to do going forward. So what is the kind of genre of music are we talking about? Is it going to be on the same structure as By the River and Flower Child, or is it varying from time to time? Or does it depend on the mood of what you're talking about?
To be honest, it depends on the mood of the narrative. As I told you, the first album we are planning is a musical audiobook. So it is a narrative, right? There is a storyline that leads the whole album. So there is emotional ups and downs and all that. So with those emotional ups and downs, each emotion need a different kind of sounding. But obviously, it doesn't mean that every song is like entirely different soundscapes or anything. There is a consistency. We have used in sense of tones or instruments. We have used classical guitar is there, and of course the baritone voice is there. So there will be a sense of consistency. But depending on the emotions, the feel will change. That's the idea. Yeah.
So that is something that you're going to translate to the audience again. When you have 24 numbers and you're playing a show, there's a hell of a lot of stuff you're going to be doing, right? And you guys don't do covers, do you? For your shows?
We have done one cover. It's a song called "Skinny Love" by. Are you familiar? "Skinny Love" by Bon Iver.
Yeah.
That's the only cover we have done as a duo.
So that is fascinating also, because you look at bands that generally go and start playing, they first play things that the audience should like, or what they think the audience should like. So it's always covers. So was that a conscious decision also that I'm just going to go and we're going to play our music, if they like it or not, is their story, but I'll play what has to be played.
Well, yeah, I mean, we formed as a duo. If we wanted to do covers, we could just do it with a karaoke or something, right? So,
what has been the reaction that you had from people that we've been playing to? Because now I know for a fact that people say these guys are different from most music that we're listening to. But to be honest, when you have a baritone voice, either you're a single man band and that is it. But having a duo that one is only singing baritone and the other guy is keeping up with the guitar, so that itself is a fantastic chemistry, right? So how do your fans react? How do the people react when they listen to your music? Have you had people coming up and saying, this is unique, I never heard this before?
Yes.
we've got comments on YouTube and all that, but we haven't gone directly live yet. The only show we did was for Next, for the event Wonderwall hosted. So that was the only live we have performed, and people are, interested in the kind of music we make. So that gives us confidence too, and yeah, that's it. Because apart from that, the usual YouTube comments and all that, there we see the responses, and yeah, it fuels us, of course.
Like everybody pushes us to like make new songs. Like if this is the month and if we don't release a song, everybody's like, hey, I don't see a new song. What happened? So they just want us to do something more. So we just give what they want.
So do you think to yourself, why are we not producing any more? Because they're
Like,
asking us to, why
you know,
are we
that's
producing
why
we
working
are
on a project. So
planning on the album, and
Yeah.
to be honest, the album is also the first album. It's named Magnolia. So it is actually in mind. We have the idea of the live shows and all that. So to hook people through the 1 hour show, that's when we came up with the idea of to have a whole storyline and a narrative to it, so that people will want to know what is happening next, right?
We're looking at the difference between both the songs, By the River, that is there on YouTube right now, and also Flower Child. Somewhere in between, you guys made a conscious decision that I'm going to get a cello player to come in between and stand there also. Yeah. But the tone of both those videos plus the music, I've noticed has got a background brown tinge to the whole thing. That also was not planned?
Of course, that we kind of have a color sense in mind which portray our things, right? So the earthy tones is something we stick to, because that's why the brown, the beige, or even the green shades come in. So yeah, that is there, of course.
Oh no, like a flower child they roll round and round to know these things around to fight their aching heart. They sailed into the wild, into the strangeness of life. Oh no, brought in cages beneath is a highway that's fading. Oh, 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 oh. You're a diamond beneath your beam. You'll be alright, like a flower child, like a dream we did not know if we could sail off to fight.
So are you guys decided on, I know the trilogy is already on, right? So you already have your song, the demos have been done, everything is in place. When do you get into the studios?
next month is when we are planning to start up with the first album. The first one of the trilogy. And yeah, it is at Ottapalam. There is a super cool studio called Montasonic. It's like huge, complete analog studio. So that's where we are planning.
It's an analog studio.
Yeah,
oh,
full
that's going to
analog,
make a
yeah.
big difference. Huh? But today, when you look at a studio, it's right in your bedroom, right? There's one computer and that's it. And say, yeah, that's a sound room. It's proof. You think an analog studio.
Yeah, it's built by Varun. He's this engineer there. He's a really cool guy, and he's the one who's producing our this album. Yeah.
So he knows exactly what you guys need to do. Like, so you got your books full now for what has to be done. Are you planning to release album by album, trilogy wise, and tell people that wait, the second one is coming, the third one is
Yeah,
going
of
to
course
come. That's what
we'll
you're
be
going to
doing
do.
like that only. Yeah.
And I want to put out feelers saying that this is what it's all about, because being a trilogy, it's again a huge storyline that's going to happen from beginning till the end.
Yes.
So you're going to give first part of the story saying this is what's coming, and then you're going to produce it, make them wait for more.
To an
thirst for more.
extent, we are trying to do that, but of course the budgeting is the issue, because visuals are of course needed when it comes to promotions, right? So yeah, we are somewhat planning on that.
So let me tell you all the best for what has to happen. Have a lot of patience, which you already have. Let that continue. You just do your own thing.
Yeah.
Keep that camera running. Buy a couple of new phones. No? Just keep it there. Keep it everywhere. Just ask it just to play so that those riffs never end when it has to come. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys. And you said Magnolia is the name of the
First album.
first album, right? So all the best for that, and don't keep your fans waiting for so much. Tell them, yeah, it's coming. We're working on it, so they understand what's going on. the
Yeah.
motivation.
And they'll know from this video, right?
Absolutely, we're going to send it right across. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ben Hur Music, Indie Gaga.